Hello, folks. I am Dr. Charles Snodgrass, your freshman composition one professor. And this is going to be, I hope, a relatively short video on essay one. Essay one is in module 5 and it's not due till November 18th. But some of you are working ahead, which is great. So I wanted to make this available to you before that due date. This is the PDF version of the syllabus. And in module 5, there are all the instructions here. And what I'm doing here is I'm creating this video lecture for essay 1. In the this PDF version or in the Google Drive itself, if I go up to the top here, no, I don't have it linked. Thought I did. It's um, it's in the what do you call it? The Google Drive folder. And if I click on this, for example, it says number one, step number one, uh, write on a topic from this essay one guide and follow the outline. You just click that link, and it will take you right to this document. This is the essay guide with the submission instructions, um, the outline that you're supposed to follow. Notice it says here, follow this outline, not one of your own or um, someone else's. It's really a fairly simplified essay. There are, instead of the basic 5-paragraph essay model, there are six paragraphs here. Um, the second paragraph is the paragraph where you will reject or refute your opposition, because if you do not mention what your opponents think or say, then you're technically not arguing. Um, Notice that I have in your thesis, which of course is your topic and your point of view, like we should do this or should not do that. You need to choose 3 main ideas, and they're color coded here to match up with the color coded body paragraphs. So yeah, that's the format of the essay. I say down here at the bottom of, let me just move this out of the way a bit. At the bottom of the first page of the guide, uh, apply this final draft checklist. Again, if you just click this link, it will take you to a file inside of our Google Drive. And this is the essay guide checklist. Um, and honestly, folks, if there are 35 questions here, like, have I done this? Have I done that? If you answer all 35 that yes, I have, you're well on your way to earning a B or an A on the essay. Notice it says check each box only after completing each item. So make sure you've actually done them, right? Like, have I closely and thoroughly followed the essay outline? And it'd be very evident to me if you don't, right? Because in the essay, right, there are 6 paragraphs only, right? Introduction, refutation, 3 body paragraphs, and conclusion. On the second page of this guide is both a set of resources that I'll go through in a minute with you, and a kind of breakdown of the topic. And everyone's writing on the same topic, which is what are the 3 most important factors, see outline 1B, to reduce climate change. Uh, and outline 1B, that is right here, 1B, right? So those three factors, and you get to choose which are the 3 most important factors. It could be that we need to reduce our dependence on coal. Could be that we need to create more nuclear energy or power. And everyone will have obviously different kinds of three important factors. And what I've done here is broken down for you the sort of main renewable energy sources and fossil fuels that, of course, create carbon emissions. Um, I should note, if you don't already know, that natural gas, think of propane or whatever you use to light your gas stove, perhaps in your house or apartment. Um, that actually comes from typically the drilling of oil, because in the drilling of oil, natural gas is released, especially through the method called fracking. Fracking is a kind of neologism or new word, meaning like fracturing. What they're doing is they're fracturing the Earth's crust to release oil, but also simultaneously natural gas. Um, I do want to kind of give a caveat for you if you say, for example, we should just completely stop drilling for oil. Um, that's not realistic. It is, of course, a finite resource, but I want you to kind of think more broadly and largely about what that would signify. Um, Currently, all plastics and rubber, for example, polymers that we use in tires, think of how many tires on trucks and vehicles and all kinds of other uh, moving two and four-wheel vehicles around the globe there are, right? Um, so that probably won't happen anytime soon. Maybe there's a way we could um, you know, renew those current tires rather than just burning them as many people do. What I've done here in the middle of this page 2 of the guide is I've listed the common, and there are, more than this, the common pros and cons of why we should, you embrace and get on board with the climate change, and then the common pros or positions why we should not. And so these ideas, right? Let's say hypothetically, you were saying the three most important factors for climate change would be increase, solar panels, more hydropower, which of course is both, using hydroelectricity from, say, dams, where the water flows through and turns turbines, creates electricity, or sea power. That is, you can harness the power of the ocean and the waves to generate hydropower. And then maybe, more nuclear energy power plants or something. So whatever those three most important factors are, again, they would be listed up here in your thesis statement in paragraph 1. But then you would need to address people who disagree with you. And if you're saying we should use renewable resources, then people who disagree with you would say things like this, right? That, oh, there's no consensus among scientists. And you could refute that in your essay, as we'll show you. Most scientists, as I say over here, most scientists actually agree that there's both global warming and need for rapid climate change, um, or the adoption of methods to reduce climate change. Um, so a lot of people may argue that, oh, it's, it's sort of sense of resignation. Oh, it's too late, nothing can be done. But there's still time actually for the 1.5 Celsius degrees target that the Paris Agreement in 2015 set. We could still do it if we just act. So whichever side you're arguing, we should not, right? You're not trying to convince me because I'm your professor. You're trying to convince your audience who disagrees with you. But if you're arguing that yes, we should engage in some kind of climate change procedures, and you outline three, then these people right here, these positions over here on the con side, uh, they will appear here in the refutation section. And let me give you an example of what I mean. I'm going to start working from uh, the downloaded version of this. This is, as you can see here, it's in the Google Drive. So uh, I don't, it's not as easy for me, and I don't think it'd be easy for you to look at all of these resources and this guide itself in the drive. So it's more ideal to just download it, which of course you can do by simply there's a can move this. There's a little download button here, right? You can just download this file, right? If you wanted to. Anyway, so I'm going to switch over to my hard drive version of this and work from there. And you can see here I have a bunch of tabs open because what I've done is I'll just show you here uh, in our Google Drive, there is already, this is our Google Drive, right? I'm sorry, that was the wrong course. Um, there's already a set of folders. Again, this link up here is linked to at the top of the home page in our Canvas course. But it has the course documents, which, the SA1, SA2 guide, the syllabus, what a, basic outline is that we're using in this course, and then of course the checklist. Um, it also has all of the other resources like, you know, uh, the grammar handbook, the Bedford handbook that I ask you all to download um, for modules 1 through 4. Uh, there's a whole section on logic and logical fallacies that will help you later in your organization. There's MLA style. If you're unfamiliar with, how to format your paper, which I'm going to talk a little bit about. Um, and then, of course, there's a whole section on plagiarism. Um, and step 4 of the, what do you call it? Step 4 of the module here, it says that watch this video lecture on how to avoid plagiarism. Uh, I really, really, really cannot stress enough, folks, that you watch this video lecture in toto, fully. If you just click on this link, it's linked to a YouTube video. And it's a bit long, right? It's just over an hour. And there are chapter uh, uh, demarcations, right? Like how to cite a source, so how do you credit your source, works cited, and so on, right? Formatting. So in this video lecture, I use um, one of the documents in your what do you call it? Your Google Drive, and that's the MLA sample paper. That is, let me see if it's, I think it's in the MLA style. Sorry, MLA style right here. This is the model that I'm asking you all to follow. It has instructions on the side. It's actually taken, as you can see, from our Bedford handbook, right? From the Bedford handbook. And You can find this whole paper in the Google Drive, or it's linked to in the guide itself. So if I go back to the essay guide here, this is the downloaded version of it, but it's still the same thing I was showing you a moment ago. Um, it says follow this sample MLA paper, right? If you were to click on this link, it takes you to that MLA guide paper. Um, and this is the format that I'm asking you all to follow. Some of you may be unfamiliar with MLA style. It is, as you will find in module 4, if you haven't already taken that, MLA stands for the Modern Language Association, and it's the style, meaning the formatting and layout and punctuation and so on, that the humanities uses, particularly English and literature courses. If you're taking, say, psychology or history or sociology class, you will probably be using what's called APA style, American Psychological Association style. And so some of you will may be familiar with that, and instead of the heading works cited, which is what MLA uses, in APA style, they would call this page the references. Anyhow, so going back to this video, I strongly recommend you watch the entire thing to learn not only how to format your paper, because like I'm showing at this section, like how to insert a page break. Um, a page break is a command you give Microsoft Word, which ideally you're working in, uh, and it separates the works cited page from the rest of your essay. Uh, that is to say, uh, your, as you see here, your essay will end on a particular page. In this case, I believe it ends at the sort of middle of page 6 here, this sample paper. And then on a separate, entirely separate page, right, page 7, your works cited sources begins. And that's what that page break that I was showing you here. It's I'm illustrating in the video how to do that inside of Microsoft Word, which, by the way, all of you have access to. If you don't know that, you should know that. Um, that is, once you log into your GSU mail, which is called Outlook. Outlook is one of the suite of programs or applications from Microsoft Office. Microsoft Office 365 has programs like Outlook, which is mail or email, um, PowerPoint, Excel, that whole suite of programs. I explained that in the syllabus, by the way. That is that you have access to. Where is that? Under the technical requirements section here, that Microsoft Word is available via your student email. So I recommend you use Microsoft Word because that is exactly what you're required to upload the document as. In fact, it says it in the directions here. Submit as a Word document a .docx or .doc file name extension within Module 5. And in the directions in Canvas, I think step 2, not sure I have it on this PDF version, but in step 2, sorry, not step 2, it'll be step 8. I have a caveat to those who are using Google Docs. If you're using Google Docs, you will need to convert your Google Doc file to a Microsoft Word file. I have those instructions inside the Canvas module. It's very easy to do, but you cannot upload a Google Doc file to the module. Remember, Google it's Google and Microsoft is Microsoft. They don't play well together. They're kind of proprietary adversaries of technology. Anyhow, all right. So let me go back to the guide here, and I have this caveat about not using the procon.org website. Even though it's published ostensibly by Britannica, that is Encyclopedia Britannica, um, a number of the sources are not reliable or verifiable. Um, what you would need to do if you were checking that out is go to the source that they cite and track it down and make sure the information is accurate, which often it's not, unfortunately. So just stay away from that, and I should never see it cited or documented in your essays. What I've done here is giving you some reliable resources, basically, things that you can cite in your essay, um, where it says right here, the works cited page, right? Things that you're actually citing. Let me just, by the way, clarify those terms because they're kind of confusing. Um, Citing is this right here. Citing is when you specifically mention an author or source's name in a sentence or paragraph in your essay. That's called a citation. It can look like this, where you have the author's name and a page number, or this, where you have the author's name and no page number because of the kind of source it is, probably an online source. Or here's another one quoted in Frauenheim. Those are citations. Um, and you will find them, like if you go down here alphabetically, you'll find Keeson there, you'll find Tam, that's all there. But here on the works cited, this is called documentation. You're documenting the sources that you're using or citing up above here in the essay. Okay, so again, this is citing and this is documenting. Um, so I explain all of this in this video lecture, which again, you really ought to watch. All right, step 4 of the module. Um, Let me go back to this version of the, what do you call it, the guide. And what I've done here is I've given you both um, pro and con sources, if you will, right? Like here, climate deniers of the current 118th U.S. Congress. And by the way, when we use that term U.S. Congress in the United States, we're generally talking about both the Senate and the House of Representatives together. Uh, that's currently 535 people, that is 435 representatives, and of course, there's always 100 senators. So if you were to click on that link, which I'll do in a moment, it'll take you for this Center for American Progress's list of the current Congress members who are climate deniers, and they would be in this category or camp, right, of denying, which, you could use here in paragraph 2, your opponents. But if you don't know, in 2019, this 16-year-old Swedish girl, young woman, Greta Thunberg, gave a speech at the UN Climate Action Summit. I've done 2 things. One, I've given you a transcript. So again, if you download this and it's on your computer or laptop or whatever, you just click this link and it'll take you right to the transcript, right? And the nifty thing about this is that you can use this transcript to quote from or paraphrase from, like as a source, right? Um, and it's from NPR, National Public Radio transcript. Also, this I've given you the video version of it. It's only 5 minutes, not that long. I highly recommend you watch it. Uh, it's pretty powerful, and there she is right there. Um, and it's powerful because it's a young person telling the world leaders at the United Nations, why we people, especially young people, need to uh, pay attention and actually embrace uh, global warming and reduce it, not deny it. They ask her, what is your message? And she begins by saying, as you can see from the caption, um, that we will be watching you, meaning we young people will be watching you. It's a pretty powerful little 5-minute speech. Um, so these climate deniers, this again is from the Center for American Progress. If you click on this link, um, the Center for American Progress right here is a kind of, you know, to be honest, liberal, left-leaning uh, organization, but they're uh, they're they're trying to do what they can to thwart or um, resist the disastrous climate deniers positions, right? Like this Project 2025. I don't know if you all know about it, but Project 2025 is um, produced by the conservative slash Republican in the United States. Conservative is typically Republican, liberal is typically Democrat. Um, Project 2025 is formulated by the Conservative Heritage Foundation, and it's fundamentally what Donald Trump would run on if he were elected this coming November or reelected, God forbid. Um, so this page, the climate deniers of the current 118th Congress, it says there are 123 members who publicly deny the consensus. Um, so if you take, 535, 123, it's almost 20%, it's 19 point something percent. So that's almost 1 in 5 of the entire Senate and House of Representatives who are openly climate deniers. But in this nifty page here, they have, as you can see here, the 123 people and the contributions they've gotten over their uh, political lifetime from fossil fuels, like, gas and electric and coal. In other words, these people, most of whom you can see R means Republican, and then the abbreviation of the state, means that these people are beholden to and the pocket of, if you will, the fossil fuel companies. So they're denying um, that climate change exists. They're denying that global warming is happening and so on. So therefore, it makes it very hard for the United States to domestically and internationally enact policies that would reduce climate change and global warming. So, like, for example, Steve Scalise, Republican from Louisiana, he's gotten over $2.5 million from coal and gas, mostly gas. Um, and if you click this little pull down button, right, it will tell you what he said, right? We've had freezing periods in the 1970s, said it was going to be a new cooling period, and now it gets warmer and gets colder, and that's called Mother Nature. But the idea that hurricanes or wildfires were caused just in the past few years uh, is just a fallacy. And if you wanted to paraphrase or quote that, do not quote from this page here, this Center for American Progress page, but instead click on this link that they have provided for you and go to the original source. Okay, so there is Scalise talking about climate change. And one of the words that was used, this is a nifty trick if you haven't, is the word fallacy. So you can use your control find, control F, to find that exact quote, and there it is. Just type it in the word fallacy, right? And so this is what you would quote the original source, and happens to be a, as you can see here, a CNN article, right? Um, and it's very easy to do if you wanted to use this in, say, paragraph 2, you know, that he's calling for denial of climate change. You could, if you wanted, you could copy this whole quotation uh, and in a Word document, uh, shall show you how to do this. Let's say this is, you know, paragraph 2. Um, and you might say something like, and you always want to give like a lead into your paragraph, you know, topic sentence, we might say. And then you could say, or be more precise, Republican. And then you could insert that quotation, right? But of course, if it's a quotation, which means word for word, you need quotation marks around it. Now, you still have to cite your source, right? So citing again is mentioning your source by name in the sentence. And so this is still part of the sentence. Well, the sentence is this whole thing here. Um, so in this case, you would not put Scalise in the parenthetical. Instead, you would put it in your CNN source. And the CNN source is, here's the title, and here are the two authors. That is Melanie Zanona and Ella Nilsson. And in the, what do you call it? In the parenthetical, you just need her name, Zanona. Um, so let me put, let me unlink that. I don't want copied, I think, the color of the text. So that's all you'd need. Then, you know, of course, this should also be double spaced, as everything is inside of a MLA style document. We would expect to see on a separate page, and here I'm going to show you the page break. It's super simple, but you need to have your cursor. My cursor is right there at the end. You need to have your cursor in the right spot. Don't put it here up at the top, because that will mess up your page break. So it's at the end here. And you just simply go insert, break, page break. And what it does here is, right, is it goes to a new page, and it separates your essay from the works cited page, and it always keeps your works cited page on a separate page. So this will of course be works cited, and it's always centered, but we need the source information. So I'm just going to kind of, here's a nifty trick if you guys don't know this, to strip out the coding of text on online articles and whatnot, is to copy, okay, um, see published, yeah, okay. I'm just going to copy that information. Then I'm going to go up here to the address bar. I'm going to paste that information in the address bar. I'm going to cut it or, copy it again, and then I'm going to drop that inside of my document, and it will uh, take out all of the coding. So here you have to, uh, know the format, and this is what module 4 is about, MLA style citation. So it's last name first, Zonona, Nolani, and sorry, and Nielsen. And the article is this right here, this title. It's on CNN, which should be really CNN.com because it's the website, which is italicized. Get rid of all of this information except the date itself and an MLA style. We put things in reverse order, that is date then month, right? And that's all you need. You do not need the URL or web address. I'm going to repeat that again. You do not need the URL or web address. Um, the last thing you need is access. And today is the 9 September 2024. Sorry. I also explained this feature here, this formatting feature in the How to Avoid Plagiarism Step 4 video lecture, but it's pretty simple to do. It's called hanging indent. That is to say, um, in your essay guide, which I already closed out, where it says follow this MLA style sample paper, you have your works cited entries all flush left with the first line, but then the second line is indented one tab. That's called a hanging indent. And we call it that because the first word is left hanging. And it's a pretty simple technique to do. Here's how you do it. You just highlight what you need to have hanging indent. Okay. And then you go to paragraph, and you go to special hanging, and right as soon as I click hanging, it's going to give you like a kind of preview of what it's going to look like. Okay, and that's exactly what you want. So okay, boom, super easy. All right, so I'm gonna close this out, and oh yeah, by the way, I have this policy on the syllabus, but I want to kind of reinforce it here. This is here in the syllabus about you're not authorized to use, basically AI, and will be considered plagiarism. And let me show you why. One, it's like I say here, it robs you of your ability to learn and think critically. You're relying on some machine. Um, so as you can see, today I typed in the basic prompt, and 800 words is about, 5 pages. If I shrink this down, you'll see that uh, this is spills over to the fifth page. So this is within the length of uh, the assignment parameters, which is 3 to 5 double-spaced pages, right? The SA1 guide directions say that up here, 3 to 5 double-spaced pages. You could go up to 5 if you needed to, but you need a minimum of 3. Not 2.5 or 2 3/4, but a minimum of 3, so everyone is producing the same amount of work. Um, but here's a reason why uh, this is not what you should be doing, that is relying on AI. Happens to be, in this case, Chat GPT-4. Uh, First of all, it's want to give you headings, right? And that is not what the essay calls for. And so if you have headings or subheadings in your essay, it's going to trigger me to go look and discern whether or not this is an actual like plagiarized uh, paper. But notice how it purports, and this is all that is given. Notice there are no sources documented at the end. It purports to give you legitimate information, um, like here. Um, According to Global Forest Watch, the world lost approximately 25 million hectares of trees in 2021 alone. So I think, okay, well, let's uh, let's copy that information, and we're going to also want to include the Global Forest Watch, and let's see if we can find if that is accurate, right? So my home page, as you will see, is Google Advanced Search because I'm often looking for something very specific, like plagiarism. Um, so if I type Global Forest Watch and 25 million hectares, so those two things were inside of the OpenAI ChatGPT-4 essay. Let's see what is comes about. Like, oh, okay, well, yeah, there are some sources. So are they legit? Well, let's click on this first one, okay, from the World Bank, World Resources Institute. You click on this, you go to that source, and it's a pretty long page with lots of information. So let's see if we can find anywhere in this the number 25, right? Because that's super specific. Okay. According to Global Forest Watch, Brazil lost 25 million hectares of primary forest between 2002 and 2019. Okay, but what did the essay say? The essay said, um, wait, a different one open, sorry. The essay said that number of trees in 2021 alone, right? Approximately 25 million in 2021 alone. So that right there, right? And between this range, right, it is nowhere near 2021. In fact, it's earlier. So you cannot rely on ChatGPT or here's the actual source, and it's it's on Twitter. Oh my God, please do not cite any Twitter sources. Um, so you cannot rely on these AI or ChatGPT models, right? And that's precisely one of the reasons why we're writing essay 2 about artificial intelligence. Anyhow, going back to this source, you can use any of the information on this page. Let me go to some of the other sources that are in that Google Drive. The Paris Climate Accord or Agreement, 2015. Now, 2015, that's when President Obama is in office, and he jumps on board and says, yes, we need to be part of this. And again, this is the United Nations, not just the United States. The United States in New York City happens to be the headquarters of the United Nations, but of course, the United Nations is a global uh, entity. And, you can use information here about, the United Nations says it's urgent and potentially irreversible, that, they're looking for the target of getting down to, 2%, or so not to 2%, but 2 degrees Celsius, right? Hopefully below that. So this is sort of the original international framework language that spurred us to think more seriously about climate change, called again the Paris Agreement. So there's that, and inside of that Google Drive again is this source. Every insane thing Donald Trump has said about global warming. Mother Jones is a respected, maybe not familiar to many of you, but is a respected news media outlet. It's been around for decades. And what they've done here is they've cataloged over the years, beginning in 2010, all of the crazy things Trump has said, that it's a hoax and whatnot. This looks weird and a lot of white space because this is a PDF version of the online source. Um, you can just go type in this article and find it online if you want to use the online version. Um, but yeah, he said some pretty pretty crazy things, including if I can find it, that so this is 2017, right? Uh, he is already in office. That is, he was elected November 2016. He took office January 20th, 2017. So this is the end of that first year of his. So he's writing on Twitter, right, while he's president. In the East, it could be the coldest New Year's Eve on record. Perhaps we could use a little bit of that good old global warming that our country, but not other countries, was going to pay trillions of dollars to protect against. Bundle up. Of course, he's being super sarcastic, right? That global warming is not happening. So this is a compilation of the greatest hits of his climate denial. So that could feature in, if you wanted to, in paragraph 2 again, if you're saying that, yes, we need to embrace climate change. Another source in your drive is this here, the State of the Climate Action, and it's part of the United Nations efforts as well, but all of these agencies are part of it. And I include this because it has a wealth of information from different angles about what exactly we can and should be doing with a lot of data, like, here um, in this global net, anthropogenic, fancy word for human caused. Think of the word Genesis, right? Origin, beginning, and then anthro is meaning man or human. Uh, of emissions by sector, right? So they give their sources here. The European Commission, and by different kinds of oil and gas, um, or residential or chemicals or industry and so on. But there's just a plethora of data and sources in this document for you to look at. And you, of course, can cite, quote, paraphrase anything in a document like this and include it in your body paragraphs. Another one here is this is a fairly recent CNN article. And you can see up here from the website itself that it's January 16th of this year. So there's a new kind of denial going on. And it says here, there are uh, false and misleading statements taken from a handful of thousands of YouTube videos analyzed by a nonprofit Center for Countering Digital Hate, or CCDH, which has identified a stark change in the tactics of climate deniers of the past few years. That is, people just used to just say it out loud, or it might be published in a paper, but now we have the problem of social media and the ability for climate deniers to make things go viral. And part of the problem is, of course, is that younger generations use YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and so on as their main sources of news, unfortunately. Um, New denial content attacks on solutions, the science and climate movement now makes up 70% of all climate denial claims posted on YouTube, according to that report, right? So you could quote or cite anything in here as a uh, source in your paper. Um, Here's also this year, fairly recent NASA article. Again, there's a lot of white space on here because I saved it as a PDF file from the online source, but you can just, copy this title and find it online easily. But NASA says Earth's average surface temperature in 2023 was the warmest on record. And if you were to go to this article, which I probably will, there's a GIF or animated GIF that shows you what that looks like here. I will type this in the search. So there's same, this is the online version, same article, right? There's a little video you can watch about it. But this right here, this animated GIF, and what it's showing you is primarily in North America, excuse me, primarily in the Northern Hemisphere, that during the summer months in the Northern Hemisphere, that, from the 30s to present day, right, it's just been getting increasingly stronger and stronger, or hotter and hotter during the summers. Again, this is, NASA, National Aeronautics and Space Administration, right? So it's a legit source. So please use legitimate sources. There's also another document in here about renewable energy, which also has a lot of data that you can glean and put into your essays, as well as the somewhat recent President Joe Biden. Remember, he takes office in um, January 20th, 2021. So 7 days after he has been in office, so like 1 week, right? He has an executive order, which is, a presidential kind of decree about it, tackling the climate crisis, right? Unlike President Trump, he's not denying it. He's doing the opposite, right? He's saying that it needs to be at the center of the United States foreign policy and national security, right? That it's, you know, dangerous and potentially catastrophic. And so again, you can quote or cite anything from this executive order. There's the International Public Opinion on Climate Change last year, and this is produced by another reputable source called the Yale Program on Climate Change Communication, of course, coming out of Yale University, one of the top universities on the planet. I include this because I know that there's a number of students in this course who are from African countries like Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya. Uh, so in this, if I remember correctly, there's a lot of data uh, in maps, but this document is about, you can see here the countries that are being surveyed. Um, but this is about communication, right? Like, okay, what do you know about climate change, right? I know a lot about it. I know a moderate amount about it. I know a little about it. I've never heard of it, or there's no response. And this is the Europe country by country breakdown. But they have North America, Central America, South America, and down here they have the Sub-Saharan Africa list, right? Um, so let's say people in Ghana, right? Uh, if we go back up to the legend here at the top, to color coding, right? The dark blue is I have never heard of it. So in Ghana, there's around 30% of people who have never heard of it. If this is to be true, that's that's kind of a little alarming, right? Like knowledge about climate change. And there are some people, of course, maybe 10% that have. Maybe you are the 10%, or maybe you're in the 16% that you know something about it. So, you can cite this uh, document or the data in it, right? If you wanted to include that in your essay. Um, let's see. So, is climate change caused mostly by human activities? Do you agree or disagree, right? Like some would say it's caused mostly by human, that is in the red, about equally by humans and natural activity. And that's another thing about on the con side, right? That uh, climate change is natural, right? That, oh, we're just seeing this, like, there's been an ice age before and then a melting. This is just the natural process of the earth. Uh, but that's what that equally by human activity and natural changes, or those who just think it's by natural change. So, uh, here's what some people think. In Ghana, those who know about it or know something about it, they think that it's mostly caused by human activities, which sort of makes sense, right? Like if you know about climate change and know what it is, then you know that it's, fossil fuels, carbon emissions, that kind of thing. So that document is in there and you're welcome to use it. The Project 2025's plan to drill, baby, drill. Again, the Project 2025 is that conservative set of policies coming out of the Heritage Foundation that President Trump is likely to adopt. Um, Again, the spacing here is off because of I've made it into a PDF file from the online version, but you can find it easily online. Um, so what Trump wants to do, right, is put back in place his or take away Biden's re-engagement with the Paris Agreement and forget about the goal of 2%, 2 degrees Celsius, um, and instead start drilling on the outer continental shelf of Alaska and the United States, which of course could severely affect, those peoples, those coastal lines. Um, so that's information you could include. Again, Oh yeah, by the way, if you have not already downloaded this, you know, modules 1 through 4, ask you to use the Bedford Handbook. This is the basic text for the course, right? Um, I highly recommend you don't use it from the Google Drive, but you download it. It's about 20 megabytes. You can maybe put it on a flash drive. But inside of this, not just the grammar basics about, parts of speech and sentence patterns and so on that are part of modules 1 through 4. Um, but there's a section on academic reading and writing, right? Oh, wait, no, that's not it. It is on, wait, here's an easier way to find it if you haven't already figured this out. The detailed menu in the back cover, these right here. So basically, folks, this is an entire textbook that's digitized and interactive, right? And if you were wanting to know about, pronoun antecedent agreements or what kinds of pronouns there are or whatever, you just click on that. But here, it's called the inside back cover, there's a whole section on writing MLA papers, right? Citing sources and documentation, everything I just mentioned earlier about how to cite and document your sources. And in fact, inside of this chapter is that actual uh, sample paper that Anna Orloff, the student writer, wrote. So on page by page, breaking down how to document your sources. So there it is, right? The same exact Anna Orloff paper that I was using in the step 4 video lecture of how to avoid plagiarism, right? So it's inside the book as well. So I think that's about it, folks, for this video lecture. Again, it's not meant to be a killer assignment. It's, 6 paragraphs, a minimum of 3 double-spaced pages. It's not due until November 18th, but today's September 9th, so you have plenty of time to get working on it. If you have any particular questions about this essay assignment, please let me know and send me a message in Canvas inbox, is what I'm saying. So in the essay module 5 in Canvas, I will be replacing this forthcoming with the uh, direct YouTube video link to this video. And I will roll out the SA2 video lecture in the next week or two. All right, that's it, folks. Thanks, and have a great semester.